Call the regular governing board meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District Board of Education to order at 7:01 p.m. Please note that this meeting is being recorded at this time. Please take a moment to silence or turn off your cell phones. And for those of you that are here that would like to address the board about a specific agenda item and/or during public comment, please fill out one of the blue comment cards so we know, and give it to Noel up here at the front so we know when to call upon you. Item 1, Pledge of Allegiance. Principal Duran, if you or one of your students would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Ready? Salute. Pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I believe that Lammersville Elementary School has a short presentation for us.
Good evening, President Clements, trustees, Dr. Nicholas, thank you for having us tonight. So I prepared they said between 30 and 45 minutes, that's good, right? So we are gonna get started. I have my leadership team with me, and I'd like to, before we get started, just give a little recognition to Keisha Stiles, our teacher in charge. All right, leadership team, it is your turn to take the stage.
Hi, I'm Julia.
And I'm Clara.
On February 10th, Lamersville held a STEAM fair where students were given an opportunity to compete for a prize and embrace their scientific and creative minds. Our winners were second grade class Levi, Clara, Chantou, Babhav, Dalton, Mateo, France, Marshall, and Josh. They then progressed to the county level to compete for medals and a chance of a monetary prize.
At the county, our winners were the second grade class project, Babhav, Levi, and Clara. The STEAM fair is an important part of Lammersville Elementary because it teaches students that hard work is often rewarded and can lead them to a better future.
Hi, my name is Teresa,
Hi, my name is Caitlin.
and here at Lammersville we have an art program for all the kids at the school. The art program really helps all the kids relax and take some stress off. It also helps with their mindset for the rest of the school day.
The art teachers are Mr. Mario for 4th through 8th grade and Miss Linda for the kinder through 3rd grade. We all do fun paintings and drawings. This art program can help you with high school art programs.
Hi, I'm Isabella. And hi, I'm Sarah. Assemblies are a weekly event that all grades K through 8 are to listen for announcements, awards, and more. One award that we do are ST Math Top 5, which gives kids K through 5th to compete for prizes for ST Math. Another awards approval that congratulate kids for showing good character traits.
Assemblies are a great way to unite all of the grades together.
Hello, my name is Caitlin. We have a field trip for the 6th graders every year. Here are some pictures of the field trip. They go to camp for about a week. This year field trip was on March 14th through 17th.
Hi, my name is SB. Every year, the 6th graders go to science camp to learn different things about different natures.
Hi, my name is Sierra. Lammersville has done many dress-up days throughout this year. Some of the dress-up weeks we've done are Red Ribbon Week, Read Across America Week, and Winter Dress-Up Days. One of the popular days we did was We're Too Bright for Drugs, Wear Neon. Dress-up days are a fun and helpful way to encourage students to show Lammersville spirit.
Hi, my name is Sarah. Lammersville has many sports. These sports are volleyball, soccer, and basketball. Volleyball was in the fall, basketball was in the winter, and soccer is happening now. These sports allow students to have after-school fun and fitness. We might be small, but we are mighty. Hi, I'm Isabella. Our school offers many opportunities for students to exercise and explore new hobbies. We offer STEAM to gardening, which gives our students many options to pick from. The electives give them many chances to apply science, math, and leadership skills. Electives at Lammersville give us skills that we can apply to the future.
Hi, I'm Clara.
Hi, I'm Teresa.
And here at Lammersville, each year, every kindergartner is paired with at least one 8th grader, and at the end of every Friday, they get together and have fun with activities such as playing in the playground, coloring with the 8th graders reading to the kindergartners, and getting to know each other better.
8th grade buddies are very important here at Lammersville because the kindergartners just started school and might be a little shy and nervous. But the 8th grader buddies can always help them come out of this shell and be more social with staff and friends.
Hi, I'm Julia. Some upcoming events we will have are the talent show this Friday, where kids will have the chance to present their talents. Also, there will be a play called The Lion King. Students K through 8 have an opportunity to embrace their acting talent.
Following those events, every year we have a water park field trip for K through 8th to attend by choice. Also, at the last day of school, the kindergartners have a ceremony. After the ceremony, the whole school has a barbecue. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions from the board?
Just a comment, when you mentioned the 8th grade buddies, that's one of the things that I like the most about Lammersville. My kids all went to Lammersville, and they graduated from Lammersville many, many years ago, and they all still remember their 8th grade buddy and their kindergarten buddy from when they were in 8th grade, so that's pretty neat. In fact, one of my older sons reunited with his 8th grade buddy from kindergarten at the Lammersville Foundation dinner just a few weeks ago. Very good presentation. Thank you.
I just want to add that the presentation was really good. It was well put up, and it gave us a wonderful picture about each and every program. So thank you for the time that you have taken to put together such an awesome presentation. And I'm really looking forward to your Lammersville Got Talent show.
I just wanted to echo that, what they said, but also I couldn't help but notice the really awesome shirt. And I was wondering, was that designed by one of the students? I love that. That was very creative. The shirt looks great.
Any other comments? Great job, everyone. Fantastic presentation. I understand that there are also some students here that want to speak about TED Ed. You can come up now, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. We would like to invite you to the first ever Lammersville Unified School District TED Ed Student Talk Showcase.
This event was organized by Miss Aquinto over here and is a result of an entire year of hard work by all the amazing students in GATE. And this event not only shows TED Ed talks, but also Future City exhibits.
TED Talks are all built around questions and are essentially our speeches about the most pressing concerns of society today. TED Talks allow us to share questions and ideas that we have every day. For example, should we be allowed to colonize Mars? What does it mean for us if animals are conscious? We answer these questions and more in our live TED Talk portion of our event. We have selected 10 different students from GATE, including some of the students here, and they're speaking live about their talks. In a gallery walk before and after the talks, we have all the other students from GATE and their pre-recorded talks ready to be watched.
In addition to TED Talks, GATE is also holding a Future City exhibition. Future City is a program in which students and groups design their ideal city with the restrictions of the future in mind. This year's requirement was zero waste, which students used to design their city.
This event is the work of more than 100 students over the period of a school year. We would be extremely grateful if you would be willing to spend some time listening to our talks, and we thank you in advance if you do decide to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I haven't replied yet, but I do plan on going, by the way. Any questions, comments from the board?
I am planning on going as long as my work schedule permits. I mean, it sounds really exciting, and I would certainly appreciate the personal attention you gave here today and coming to speak to us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be there and looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
I'd like to say I'm very much looking forward to the event. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the students are all welcome to stay and watch the riveting remainder of the school board meeting. But if you would like to leave, please, by all means, you can go ahead and go. It's entirely up to you. And once again, great job to both groups. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, item 2, roll call, please.
Lisa Boulay.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Anita Daniel.
Here.
Stephanie Olson.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Sanita Jathendra.
Here.
Item 3, approval or corrections to the agenda. Are there any corrections, sir?
There are none.
I would actually like to make a change with the approval of the board. I would like to move discussion item 10, subpoint A, MHCSD Park Plan Update by Mr. Steve Pinkerton, the general manager of CSD, who's here with us tonight. I'd like to move it up to basically next, right before committee reports, so that he can make his presentation and leave.
Move to approve as amended.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Pombo and a second by Trustee Olson, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes and no nays. Sorry, 5 ayes. I'm used to saying 4 ayes for so long. Okay, Mr. Pinkerton, please. Thanks for the correction.
If I could do an introduction really quickly.
I'm sorry.
Steve Pinkerton has been around for a couple, 3 years now as general manager at the CSD. And since he's come on under his tutelage, a significant movement has happened in terms of the development of our community. And he has been unbelievably supportive of the development and the constant quest and search we have for funding for school facilities. He's been an excellent partner, and his communication is top quality, and he's an excellent professional. So we're excited to have him present about the parks and help the facilities committee, but I think it's crucial that everyone knows that he is he's been a game changer for our district relationship and the movement in the community.
You're far too kind. I can tell you that we are doing everything we can to keep the subdivisions going in an orderly and manageable manner right now, and it's not easy, but I think in any community like this, the schools are the real core of the community, and we want to make sure that, just as we want to make sure that we have all our infrastructure put in place consistent with growth, we want to make sure the same thing happens with the schools. There's nothing worse than the day that someone would have to come in here and talk about modular buildings or transfers, all those types of things. So it's a goal of ours to make sure that we work in tandem as much as possible with the district. And certainly the overall plan of the community has always been really focused on, every neighborhood's focused on a neighborhood school and a park. So the district and both districts working together. Some other time we can hopefully update you on incorporation, where we'll go from a district to a city, but we've still got a lot of work to do on that front. But I think you'll hear a lot more about that later this year. But we're thinking that within the next 12 to 18 months, we will be having, it would take a community vote for us to incorporate. But until then, we have lots of paperwork to go through and lots of time to spend with the county. But it is probably good timing on that, and it kind of works into this presentation. I've actually been here not 3 years, 2 years, 8 months, and 15 days so far. That's I'm counting.
But who's counting?
Who's counting? But during that time, we've certainly changed drastically. I mean, really since 2013, 2014, the rocket ship took off again in the neighborhoods, and we're still trying to catch up once again. But I think by the end of next year, we'll be up to about 30,000 residents. And if you recall back during the recession, we never want repeated, we were about 96, maybe 10,000 residents during that time. So we've probably by next year, we'll have tripled since 2010. And that's not easy to do. And it's a real tribute to the board here as well. There's very few districts that would be able to keep up with that pace of growth and keep people in schools. And so it's been a real challenge, and amazing that everything is in place. On the park side of things, we're about a year and a half ago, I sat down with the board and we were doing our strategic plan, and we realized that we're about to go through a paradigm shift ourselves, not just with the community as a whole, but when it comes to parks and recreation. I think over the next decade, we'll probably triple to quadruple the amount of acreage that we have in parks, and we're going to go from virtually no district-sponsored programming and to what you would normally expect in a mid-sized community, where we would have classes, adult sports, youth sports, senior programs, you name it, all that. We'll go from Angel to a full staff of 15, 20 staff or more during that time. And I think she would like that to happen as soon as possible, because it's very hard to have a one-person recreation department. We're well past where we should be on that. So, in fact, one of the things the board approved a couple meetings ago was their first commission. Up until now, all the board committees have been with a board member chairing the committee and then some members of the public involved, mostly ad hoc committees. Right now, really public safety, youth, and transportation are the only three committees we have, but those are more board driven. And given this evolution in Parks and Recreation that we see coming, the district is going to be establishing their first commission as a Parks and Rec commission, and we're bringing back some of the bylaws and because the goal is, with so much happening in Parks and Recreation, we really need to bring on people from the community who have expertise as well, so that it's not all on the board as we make all these really difficult decisions that require a lot of community input, and we could shut down every board meeting just with recreation. So we need that support. Another aspect of all this has been going on the last year and a half was updating our district's parks, recreation, and leisure plan. It really hadn't been updated. I mean, there was a 2011 update, but it didn't really change much from the pre-construction plan, which again was more check the box, developer driven. And we knew it was time to get beyond, first of all, get beyond what the world looked like in 2001, but also integrate programming with the bricks and mortar. And so I think we went through a really good process there to talk about that. And of course, the first thing we did was whenever you're doing Parks and Recreation, you need to find out what the interest is in the community. And so, we asked these core questions, and I don't think you saw, I've done this in a lot of communities, and I don't think we saw much different here than in any other community. People want to be able to enjoy the outdoors. They want to be able to walk and bike, have places where they can gather and exercise, and of course, have a place for sports for different ages as well. And then as you get into more detail, we talked a lot about what kind of facilities should be included in each of the parks, and what are some of the programming changes that we can incorporate over time, and what are the things that folks are most interested in the future, with, of course, swimming lessons being number one. And by the way, if anybody's a certified lifeguard, we're still desperate. We still are at basically ground zero in recruiting lifeguards for the summer. It's been post-COVID, all the cities are struggling, but most communities already have their own pools, and they have a pipeline of youth they've had in swim lessons for decades, and they have a lot of 14-year-olds who've been doing swim lessons with that community for many years. So everyone's struggling, but when you don't have when you don't have that pipeline, it's been virtually impossible to recruit. And the superintendents helped us, the principals helped us, some of the coaches have helped us, and we're still, I think we're still at maybe 3 applicants at this point in time. So I'm not sure we're going to have a summer swim program, but we're going to do everything we can to try and figure it out. But swimming, fitness, sports and wellness, those were certainly the the highest rankers on the survey. We also did, I know you can't really read this, but we did 2 board workshops where we talked a lot about, visioning for recreation for the future. And then that kind of translated into a vision for our parks, which then translated into more specificity into the bricks and mortar side. And I think with the real key being, right now, all we have is a portion of Central Park. We don't have our North Park, we don't have our South Park, we don't have our linear parks, and we don't have our regional linear park at this point in time. But you'll be seeing some changes under the PG&E right-of-way very soon. But I think the biggest thing we're working on now is a transformation of Central Park. But I'll talk a little bit more about the hierarchy of parks, and then talk a little bit about what's happening in those parks. Of course, each neighborhood has their 5-acre park that's adjacent to each one of your school facilities. We also, depending on the configuration of the neighborhood, everybody has to be within walking distance of a park. So in Bethany and Cuesta right now, for example, you do have some pocket parks as well. I think there's a real small pocket park in Cordis as well. Down in College Park, we'll probably end up with 2 parks, and then if you go down, I keep saying B4, B5, but very south on Central, there's a number of small pocket parks in that new neighborhood down there as well. And then, some of those village or pocket parks are very small. There's one over in Hanson that if you blink when you go by, you would miss it, but it's there. But that's kind of the hierarchy of parks in the neighborhoods. Anybody who's too far away from the 5-acre park, there's other park opportunities in each one of those neighborhoods. The overall park plan for the community, again, as you can see here by each one of your schools, there is the neighborhood parks, and then it shows where these little pocket parks are going to go. And then you can see that we've got a large park facility in the south. These are the neighborhood parks are 5 acres. The community parks are 20 acres. And then the linear parks are not a lot more acres, but they're very long. The Mountain House Creek is several hundred acres, and about half of that is built at this point in time. But as MHD jumps north this summer and begins pushing dirt around, that's going to be extended all the way up to Old River. And then eventually we're going to have a very large linear park along Old River as well, where Kirk's Golf Course was supposed to go. We'll also have a linear park. We'll still have the water hazards if you want to go out there with your pitching wedge and try to hit over them. They're already there if you look, but you can see there's going to be a lot of linear parks, and then one major park in the north, one the most major at Central, and then another in the south as well. So the Central Community Park, which is by far our largest park, I think it's going to grow about 4-fold. You'll see the map in a second. It's not only got all of the fields, but it's going to have the aquatic facility and an amphitheater as well. So we'll just go to the specifics. So you can see, take no credit for the architecture. There's still a ways to go, but you can see besides having the sports fields and the tennis courts and the gathering areas, we're going to have an outdoor amphitheater between the fountain, the play fountain, and the library, and then the recreation center will be on Main Street directly to the east of Town Hall, so that we can create some real locus of activity where you go from the splash park to the amphitheater to the library to Town Hall to the rec center to kind of activate our Main Street. So this is the latest drawing. The areas in the lighter shade of green are what's already improved in the park, and then there's also the Mountain House Creek park included in there too. That will be done just like we did in the other parts of town, where we'll establish some flora and fauna in the creek, but then leave it fallow once it's established. And we don't want to have to mow that all the time, and we don't have the water to do it anyway. But it'll be a lot like the rest of the creek throughout the community. We're breaking this up into a couple phases for a lot of reasons. We've gotten Mountain House developers to add about 4 acres. We decided to move the community center from that little circle drive where it was kind of hidden behind Safeway, where there are a lot of other site issues with the storm drain going through there. Plus, we wanted to put all the activity, the indoor activities, close together, some economies of agglomeration on Main Street. So there was a block that was originally going to be developed privately that they're now going to be putting in an expanded tennis court area along with a couple phases of the community recreation center. Originally, we were looking at putting in 3 community centers, a large one in Central and then smaller ones in North and South community parks. But as one who's had to operate these facilities in the past, the operating costs are just brutal when you start trying to spread out. As you know, the more facilities you have, the more expensive it gets. So we thought, we're a small enough community, it makes a lot more sense to concentrate everything in the town center, and that way we don't have to have 3 reception areas, 3 cleaning crews. You get a lot more synergy that way, and we can expand that over time. But that's where you'll have, you'll have at least 1 gym, eventually maybe a second gym, exercise rooms, meeting rooms, and then a lap pool and a play pool. On that site, you can see kind of in the lower left-hand corner. And then you can see the amphitheater over on the other side of Town Hall. The area in the beige is the dog park, where the real challenge is there's no surface that really works for a dog park. So we're just going to flip a coin and try to there's nothing more challenging than figuring out what surface to put in a dog park. You can see a 4-plex of Little League fields behind the expansion of the tennis courts, which were moved off of Byron Highway. We didn't think it really made sense to have tennis courts right up against Byron Highway. We want to have all your tennis courts in one place. And then we've got multi-purpose fields where we can have 2 full cricket pitches and then 3 to 6 additional soccer fields as well. And then we have a lot of demand for covered shelters. So the shelters would be all in that area south, or that's not south, that would be east of the cricket pitches. And eventually, if we ever build a police substation, we would put it over there at the corner of Byron Highway instead of plopping it between the tennis courts and the Little League fields. So this is the latest, greatest. The next phase is going to be the dog park, the amphitheater, and the first 6 of the 9 additional tennis courts. And then we're doing some, depending how development goes, my goal is to have all those 3 first phase items under construction by next spring, and then have the design and development work done for the balance of the park in 2023 and be under construction in 2024. And so hopefully by the summer of 25, which is like tomorrow, we have our pool facility and year-round pool facility and all those other activities. So it does give us a little time to get ready with all the programming, but frankly, already having the town hall and potentially the old library building, we're already seeing a lot more use of our facilities, and this will just makes my head hurt to think about how much more we'll have going on in the next couple of years. This is a little better shot of the amphitheater. I think it's something that would come in real handy for the school. We're going to do some field trips of other facilities real soon. There's one in Morgan Hill that looks almost identical to this, for example. And it would hold about 2,500 people. It doesn't look like a large area. It doesn't look like that much of a slope until you stand out there. But I think you can get a general slope in about 2,500 people for different types of events. And then we've moved the rec center, so the configurations can be a little different, but you can see the gymnasium. We probably set up where we have room to expand to a second gymnasium, along with the locker rooms for the pool, and then classrooms and fitness rooms as well. And again, that would probably be done in multiple phases, probably have a senior center room in there as well. Depends on what happens with the senior housing up in the north, and then potentially a play area. The North Community Park is going to be, again, on the old golf course area in that green belt there, about 20 acres. Originally, they had it in an inferior site, and so in the updated plan, we're putting it where people can actually get to it instead of being buried behind the bridge, which will be going somewhere soon within the next year or so. Nobody can find the original plans to sign off on anymore. It's one of those fun challenges. I think we've moved twice since they built that. It's a great view from up there, if you've ever been up there, though. And so the North Park, you're looking at picnic shelters, maybe a nature area, and then the real focus of the North and South Park is going to be playfields. So you can see Neighborhood J is going to be breaking ground this summer. Since you didn't have a school there, there's no name for it yet. I guess it's Old River Neighborhood up there in K, right? Isn't that what you were going to name K? And then L's Moore's Landing, right? All right, I got it memorized now. And the senior housing is on all the amenity lots along the lakes and the open space. Then the family market rate housing is in the other areas. So you can see you'll have only senior or only market rate within each individual subdivision, but overall you'll have a mix of uses. That large brown area in the middle will likely be a higher density senior or active adult, as we call it now, project. And there may be a private senior center, pickleball courts, or it's still not clear. Typically, when you do these active adult neighborhoods nowadays, you don't do the golf courses anymore, but you still do a lot of amenity within that neighborhood. So that's when the senior center may end up there as well. You can also see on the right side, there's also a 5-acre neighborhood park, not attached to a school, since there's no school in Neighborhood J. So as you recall, J and K, it used to be J was going to be all senior. Now it's going to be half senior, as is K half senior. So you just have one school for two neighborhoods. The blue area in the right-hand corner we're planning right now. You can see where Mountain House Creek goes along the edge of there. And that blue PF will be where we would have parking for the creek, and that's likely where we're designing a second fire station for up in that area as well right now. And the pedestrian, there, if you walk out there, you'll see where it looked like the road was going to go under a bridge for the golf course, and that's all going to get changed too. Before they were going to have it where you could get from I to J. So this is zooming in. There's still a lot more design development, but the goal would be to be able to have 5 or 6 soccer fields and at least one cricket pitch on this site. And again, the community center is probably eliminated at this point in time, but we'll probably have basketball courts, and given the seniors up there, potentially pickleball courts as well. We just had a long talk with the U.S. Tennis Association, and the pickleball and tennis people like to be apart. So I think that's what we're looking at now. And this is some more drawings. This is the north. And then the South Community Park is going to be very, very similar, with the focus being on, again, active outdoor lighted activities. This is from the master plan. The original plan was for about 38 acres. That's way more than we can afford. And so this is going to get knocked down to about 21, 22 acres. It also includes the gas pipeline and the PG&E pipeline in it. So it'll probably be a little over 20 acres, including those areas. But again, play fields, basketball courts, parking areas, lighted fields. One of the things we're looking at, given that it may take some time to get that done, is we've gotten one of the developers to give us enough money to at least put in maybe a cricket pitch before we build the rest of the park. So knowing the demand that we have for cricket, and thank you for building one up at Costa, but we're going to update this master plan with the new configuration and maybe put in no restrooms, no lighting, but at least get the turf going for having one more cricket pitch than we have now, which is none, because it doesn't really count up there at the field. So we're looking at fast tracking one little bit of South Community Park, and the rest of it, again, is really timing depending on when the rest of the development happens down there, but sometime in the next 4 to 5 years for both these parks. with the big push being on Central Park over the next year or two. Because pretty much everything surrounding that park is built out now. And then the old river and creek, as I said, you know, all of Mountain House Creek and then up along the river, it's going to end up being about 160 acres with bike and walking paths, and really going to be an important, you know, we'll have nature trails. We will have some areas where you can park, so you don't have to go all the way from Bethany up to the river to enjoy that. But that will probably be staged in over time. As Jay comes in, a portion will come in. As the old river neighborhood comes in, a portion will come in. Goes. For those who are used to the levee type walkways, that's what that'll be. And then we also have really pushed more trails, bikeways. We also updated our bike and pedestrian, well, really did our first bike and pedestrian plan at the same time we were updating the park plan to make sure that as you can see, frankly, one of the things that Mountain House was lacking in the original plan was more focus on trails and pedestrians. This was designed in the late 80s, early 90s when traffic engineers called all the shots. That's why you have a Great Valley Parkway 4 times the size it needs to be, and Arturo's too big, and Main Street's too big. We'll probably be narrowing some of the streets north of Byron. We'll probably still have the same rights of way you see on Main and Arturo, but there may be just 2 traffic lanes and then 2 bike lanes instead, so that we can have some traffic calming, because there just isn't near the traffic to justify these large roads that we then have to maintain. And so again, you know, big emphasis of the bikeways are to try to get kids to the high school over time and try to better identify ways to get, you know, put in more identifiers and signs so people know if I just pop out onto Central, I can get all the way to the high school. One of our and you can see trying to have some of these paths being multi-use, where you've got both a bike path and a pedestrian path, and then those who want to get your shoes dirty, you got the decomposed granite path as well. But I'm never a big fan of the decomposed granite. It's a great way to save money, but they just get muddy. I don't care. All the architects like decomposed granite because they go to Paris, where they've been walking on it for 500 years. So the decomposed granite after 500 years gets nice and compact, but the first 100 years, it just all sticks to your shoes. But the architects don't listen to me on that. So we are looking potentially over time for some of these streets like Main Street, Arturo, and Great Valley to maybe put some more dedicated bikeways in. In fact, one of the thoughts on Great Valley, instead of having it the Great Valley Speedway, for those of us who get woke up from Great Valley at night, is potentially to take the southbound lanes and turn them completely into a bikeway. Because if you take the southbound lanes and make them a bikeway, there's no cross traffic obviously coming from Alameda County, and then just convert the other 2 lanes to a 2-lane road, which always knocks the speed limit down about 10 miles an hour. And so that's one of the things that when we become a city and we have a seat with the Council of Governments, those are the types of things where you get a better chance to get funding for something like that. But I think particularly for the kids who will be coming from IJKL down to the high school, if they knew that they could just hop onto the Great Valley Parkway bikeway all the way down to Mustang, I think we have a lot better shot of getting people out of cars and onto bicycles. So that's really the emphasis we're going to have with the bikeways in the future. And we're trying to make even the smaller shared use paths wider. You can imagine how much of a heart attack the builders had when we were going from 8 to, we said 12 so we could get it to 10, but I thought we were going to have to send someone to the hospital when we said 12-foot bikeways they'd have to put in. And so again, I just want to have you get one more look at the final map. You can see it's pretty straightforward, and we're very excited about being able to finish all this off over the next 10 years and create all these connections. And so nobody will say that River Islands has more paths than us at that point, right? So happy to, I've talked too much already, happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments from the board?
I've got a question. Sometime back, there was discussion about updating Bethany and other of the parks near the schools, and I was just wondering if you had any update on the updating of Bethany Park.
Yes, we just had a discussion on that at the last meeting, And we're going through an RFP where we've come up with some priorities. Central Park actually is the highest, but certainly Bethany, Altamont, and Central Park are now all at the top of the list, and it's just a matter of us going through a procurement process, and hopefully my push is to get all that done in the next year.
Thank you.
You know, what happened was what they put a lot of money into Wickland. They put all the Bethany and Altamont money, frankly, into Wickland when they were first trying to sell the houses. So those parks need to be upgraded.
Any other questions?
I would just like to, while I still have the mic, just make the comment that I really appreciate Mr. Pinkerton, since he's come on the CSD over there. The relationship between this board and that board and our organizations has grown by leaps and bounds, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. We'll do everything we can to continue. And thanks. Kirk's probably the easiest. I've worked with a lot of superintendents over the years, like in Stockton, 4 at a time, and very accessible. It helps make everything, anytime I need to call, we can get things done. So it's been great.
Thank you for the detailed report of what's to come, hopefully in the near future, and for sharing it with us so that we're updated, but also everybody here who's here from the community or watching. And I'm excited about the momentum that we have moving forward. And hopefully, we'll see those timelines happen on track. So fingers crossed. Thank you for being here.
And everybody keep your eye out. We're going to have some public Zoom meetings because we seem to get a lot of people on Zoom where we'll be wanting to get comments on all these final plans for Central Park. So,
Mr. Pinkerton, is this presentation online somewhere on the CSD website, or how could the community access that? Because I know I was looking, and my eyesight is such that I kind of have to zoom in sometimes. So it would be nice if we could see that presentation. I think a lot of people would be interested in it.
Absolutely, yeah. We're getting around to kind of putting a web page together as we're getting all these designs. So you're right on the cutting edge here, the latest information.
Well, I wanted to say thank you very much for taking your valuable time and presenting it to us. And I was going to ask Dr. Nicholas, since we have this presentation, could you email it to the board members, please?
Absolutely. We'll clip it tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pinkerton.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Steve.
You too. Okay, moving on to item 4, committee reports. A, District Advisory Committee. Trustee Pombo?
Our next District Advisory Committee meeting is May 4th at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom.
Thank you. District English Language Advisory Committee. Trustee Daniel?
So we did have DLAC meeting along with the Education Committee meeting on the 14th, and it was led by Dr. Busuttil, and we did have some welcome introductions, celebrations, and LCAP details. What I really like about this particular meeting that was held on the 14th was the parents were so happy to share about the celebrations of the 3rd grade field trip and how the kids enjoyed traveling on the bus. So they're very thankful, and the kids are so happy about it. And what I also really appreciate Dr. Busuttil with regards to this meeting is that she makes it so personal with regards to the community, and she encourages everyone to share all the celebrations. And so the meeting is, it's so welcoming to every member there. So thank you so much for leading it. And that's my update.
Thank you very much. Item C, Education Committee. Trustee Pombo?
As Trustee Daniel mentioned, we had a joint meeting with the DLAC committee, and I have nothing to add to her report.
Thank you very much, sir. Facilities Committee. Trustee Olson?
Our next meeting will be on Thursday, May 12th at 6:30 p.m. here in the boardroom.
Thank you. Policy Committee, that's me. If the board will recall, we consented to suspend the Policy Committee through the end of this current school year with the understanding that the activities will definitely commence in June. Item F, Safety Committee. Trustee Pombo?
Nothing to report on the Safety Committee at this time.
And item G, Wellness Committee. Trustee Boulay?
Thank you. The Wellness Committee met this afternoon. It was our final meeting for this academic year. Each of the school sites reported on their health and wellness activities they were doing for both students and staff. Some of the common activities for the K through 8 schools were the Ag Ventures field trip for 3rd graders, science camp for 6th graders, the farmers market, of course, and I'm going to go into more detail about that, and soccer. Many of the sites also reported that parent volunteers within the last couple weeks brought lunch to the school staff to celebrate Ramadan and share their traditions. So thanks to all the parents who shared that. There were also some unique activities reported, including a book vending machine at Bethany, and I understand the high school is going to have a program to coincide with their wellness center, and it involves something to do with puppies. So I'm excited to hear more about that. Food Services reported that they've been working to get ID cards and scanners at all of the school sites, and they are working on reducing the amount of non-disposables in an effort to minimize waste. We also talked about the impact of academic expectations on student mental health. There were a few ideas that were shared that some of the students and staff were seeing. We did have a few concerns, but unfortunately we need to work on solutions for those. And the farmers market that happened at all the K through 8 schools recently was a huge success, thanks to Taylor Farms, who donated the produce. But district staff, school staff, and parent volunteers also were a huge part in making that happen. So I especially want to thank April Bertola for handling the bulk of the logistics. The maintenance department and food services also had key roles in making that happen. Finally, Director Busatil shared a recent news report regarding popular kids' snacks that are infused with marijuana. So she showed us some pictures of Dorito bags, Gushers bags, and Nerds candy that look similar to what kids would normally be eating, but they have a small little area that says THC infused. So she wanted us to be aware that this is an upcoming trend and to keep our eyes out. And hopefully we'll just see at our grocery store, we'll see the normal uninfused snacks. But again, just something to be aware of. And that's all I have.
Thank you. That was actually very informative and somewhat scary. Okay, item 5, Governing Board Reports. Student Board Member Jatendra?
Last Friday, Mountain House High School held their first night rally in over 3 years, and it was actually open to the public as well. I'm not sure if all of the board members went, but it ended up being very successful. And this weekend, we actually have our spring play, Mamma Mia's opening weekend. And upcoming on May 6th, we're trying to plan our first ever Mountain House Carnival. And that is the rest of the events to end off the year, and that is the end of my report.
Thank you very much. Trustee Daniel?
So on April 14th, I did attend the DLAC meeting along with the Education Committee meeting. And then I'm looking forward to a couple of the talent shows and all the events that are upcoming towards the end of the year. So I'm pretty excited about it. And I just want to congratulate all the students, the school staff, the principals with regards to successful second trimester. I did see a lot of pictures and students share about their second trimester awards. So congratulations to everyone and all the very best for a successful third trimester. And that's pretty much what I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Olson?
Last Wednesday, I attended the CSD meeting and gave a report on the happenings in Lammersville Unified School District. I was asked for some specific attendance data. The CSD was interested in knowing how many students we began the school year with, and I couldn't recall that number, and then how many we think we will have in the fall. And if someone can get that projection, they would appreciate that. I attended on last Friday, Reading Under the Stars at Bethany Elementary, which was a great event put on by their foundation where they had various people come in and read stories to the students in kindergarten through third grade. And it was a really nice event, and I think the students really liked it. They were very focused on the stories. I attended the Quest of Fourth Grade California History Museum and their spring recorder concert that same Friday. And that was so great to see parents and the public able to come to the school and see these things, because I know it's been a while since that we've been able to have people on campus to see them. And the projects were amazing, and the students could answer questions about it, so I could tell they did their own work, which was great. Not that I was checking, but I'd ask questions, and it was just wonderful. They just were full of information. And finally, I did attend the Mountain House High School night rally, and it was great. And this is a joke, but I was kind of serious about, like saying, hey, if you don't vote for that senior presentation as the winner, you're all expelled, because they really did a great job. All the students did, but those seniors, they were just so cute, and they're graduating, they have to win. But it was great. Thank you so much for inviting the public to that. That was wonderful. And that concludes my report.
Trustee Boulay.
On March 19th, I went to the Lammersville School Foundation auction. I would like to thank Trustee Pombo for the personal invitation and allowing me to share your very special table. It was a great event, and congratulations to the parents. It is a lot of work putting on a school auction, and it sounds like it was very successful. On March 29th, I went to one of the boys' tennis matches at the high school. Congratulations to Coach Sue and the boys' tennis players, because they are on a track for a winning season. And finally, on Friday, April 15th, I shared a book at the Bethany Read Under the Stars. I'd like to thank Radhika Dinesh for making that happen. It was the inaugural event this year. It was well attended, and I hope it continues in future years, and I look forward to sharing another great story. And on Friday, I do have my tickets for Mamma Mia for their opening show, and I'm looking forward to that, because that's some great music. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Trustee Pombo.
I also, along with the majority of the board and Superintendent Nicholas, attended the Lammersville School Foundation dinner and auction. I'm proud to say that over $17,000 was the net profit for the evening, so the LSF will be able to fund a lot of good stuff for our little school over there. I also attended the Lammersville School and Cuesta School farmers markets, and it was really nice seeing the kids being able to participate in that again. I know they enjoy it, and I very much enjoy watching them enjoy it. I attended the aforementioned Education and DLAC committee meeting. I also went to the Cuesta California History Museum event along with the fourth grade music presentation that was the same day, and that too was very nice to see the kids being able to be involved in those sorts of things once again. I also attended the Bethany Read Under the Stars, and I apologize to anyone who had to hear me read out loud, but I did my best, and it was fun. I think the kids enjoyed it anyway, and that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Pombo. Item 6, receiving of public comments. The entire board here appreciates hearing from members of the community and public at large. To facilitate this, the board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public may also bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Speakers will note that there are green, yellow, and red lights on the lectern, and there is a digital clock indicating the remaining time for each speaker. When the yellow or middle one lights up, the speaker has 1 minute remaining, so the speaker should begin to wrap up their comments and be able to finish at the end of their 3 minutes when the red light comes on. In order to be courteous and fair to other members of the community that have spoken at this meeting or previous meetings and have limited their comments to the 3 minutes allotted, and to others that also want to speak in the future, I will unfortunately have to cut speakers off if they continue speaking after their 3 minutes are up. For members of the public that are wishing to speak on a specific agenda item, we strongly recommend that you wait until the agenda item is called so that you can hear district staff's report on that item prior to making your comments. That being said, if a member of the public begins speaking on a topic that is on the agenda during the period for general public comment, I will not interrupt them, but the time will count towards 20 minutes for that allotted item. And I have a number of cards here. I do have a question before I open it to public comment. Mr. Ingstrom, are you wishing to speak on about Mr. Rexel? Yes, sir. Okay. Hold on just 1 second. Okay. I wanted to make sure I didn't have more blue cards about that topic than I actually had time. But I think we're okay. So I'm in no particular order. I'm going to call the speakers. Oh, darn. I butchered this last time, too. Mr. Hool? I'm sorry, Kaylee Hool? And is it Hool? Yeah. Okay. Kaylee Hool?
Good afternoon, board. I don't have anything prepared, so I'm just going to say what's on my mind. So, as you know, Mr. Rexel is the director at Mountain House High School, and he is not just the director, but he is the cornerstone of what makes an amazing community at that school. I joined that program when I was in the 7th grade because he visited my middle school, and he was like, hey, if you guys want to join a really cool marching band, you should join. And so I joined it, and it changed my life, because at that moment, I was in a really low point in my life. And joining that program made me feel like I was part of something bigger than myself, and it made me feel like I had a second family. And because of Mr. Rexel, I have not only become a better musician, but I've become a better person. He doesn't just teach me how to play the trombone. He teaches me morals and life lessons that I am going to live with for the rest of my life. And when I heard that he's going to be forcefully moved to middle school, it shattered my world. You can ask anyone in this room. It meant a lot to me. I left that classroom, tears rolling down my eyes, unable to breathe. Just my whole world shattered. I'm sorry, like I said, I don't have anything prepared. I'm just saying what's on my mind. The same thing has happened before to a performing arts teacher in the past, Mr. Hickson, and I am also part of the drama program at the high school. And being a part of this high school, I can tell that you all preach about supporting the performing arts, but being a performing arts student, I don't see that support. When you have such an amazing teacher who does choir, guitar, orchestra, winter percussion, marching band, symphonic band, he goes above and beyond. And you guys are kicking him out. And you did the same with Ms. Rickson, and I don't know the full story, and I apologize if I am beating a dead horse. So I apologize, but you just can't take him away from us. He is the cornerstone of what makes an amazing family at Mountain House High School, and you will see and you will regret taking him away from us, because I already know this family will just shatter without him. So I don't really know what else to say. The time's going down. Thank you so much.
On behalf of the entire board, I wanted to thank you for having the courage to come here today and share your comments. However, employee matters are subject to the highest requirements of confidentiality, and therefore the board and the district are precluded from discussing or providing support for these types of decisions. But thank you. I know that's hard. You did great. Blake Hool.
thank you for the opportunity to speak again. So that's my daughter. She's been in the program, obviously, like she said, since 7th grade. And I know that some of you, if not all of you, have been around Mr. Excel. And his passion for what he does, it's far beyond a job for him, like way, way beyond a job. And like Kaylee said, he goes beyond what he should do as a teacher, as a mentor, as anything else, because it's just a passion of his. And I guess essentially what I'm requesting is that you reconsider, because like Kaylee said, he isn't just a member or a part of a program. He is the program. And to reiterate her words, it will shatter that program. And I fear that, like she said, you're not going to see it until it's gone. And I can't speak for how he feels or the details of the whole thing, but I can tell you that if I was in his shoes and somebody took me out of my passion, I would not stay in this community. So if one thinks that he's going to move down to a K through 8 position where he's way overqualified, he will go find work elsewhere where he can be in his passion again, because that's what I would do. Somebody kicks me in the butt and throws me down, I'm not going to hang around. So again, I urge you to reconsider and keep him where he is, because this entire community will suffer. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hool. Mr. Engstrom.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the board for your time and commend the students for speaking. It's very tough. I don't like being up here myself. I'm here to talk about Troy as well. You heard it from the student herself. He's very impactful to these kids. I have my son here, and I don't think my son would be where he is right now without Troy. He picked up sticks that got a spark going, but it's Troy who drove that passion. And beyond that, it's a lot more than just being able to teach kids, reach them, touch them. You have to be able to put a program together, which he did. He started this program at the school. In addition, he has to be able to use finances correctly. He stretches every dollar given to this school for that program. And I don't think it's enough. That's my opinion, but he makes it stretch. He gets used equipment. He gets used uniforms. He comes to the community to get more and more as well. And his track record is proven. He brings trophies home to this school. He is a successful music director. Now I understand there might be a position open at the elementary school, but why now impact all the kids at the high school to yank him out and fill a different position when you can just fill that hole? This is going to have a dramatic impact. As far as this board, I voted for many of you. I'm not questioning your decision-making. I trust you. That's why I voted for you. To go further, I've coached your children. I've coached with your husbands. Our friends, our kids are friends in high school. I know you. I'm part of the same community. But those decisions can only be made off the data that you have. And maybe you don't know all of the ins and outs with Mr. Excel. Maybe you don't understand the impact he has on these kids. And maybe you don't see the success of that program. And these decisions have consequences. You're talking about potentially destroying some kids in many ways. This is very impactful to them in a time that's already very dramatic to them, right? I mean, we just got through COVID. They just got back into class. They were all excited to see Troy, and in a year where he has to tell them he's walking away. In addition, it impacts parents. My family has donated thousands of dollars to this program every year for the last several years, excluding 20 and 21 for whatever reasons. And I can tell you, even this year, the amps burned out. We had no amps during competition. I went and bought new amps provided to the school. My family put up $4,000 in matching funds for donations. We didn't get any support from the community, but we still gave that $4,000. Unfortunately, seeing the decisions being made and the poor leadership at that high school, I will not give another dime to this school. I will not donate any more of my time to this school if I see these types of decisions being made. Thank you for your time.
On behalf of the board, thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Engstrom. Serenity Satterfield? Is that correct?
Thank you for your guys' time. Personally, I don't feel like I deserve to stand and get here and talk about Rexel, because he came into middle school, he's gone to every middle school just to show people how inspiring it is, not being forced in 5th grade to do music just because you have to, but to be willing to put in the effort. And he showed me that for choir and in band. I played clarinet for a really long time and I didn't like it. He put me on trumpet and it was so stressful I quit marching band, but he gave me a second chance in winter season where I played cymbals. I've never held percussion instrument in my life, and he sat there and trusted me. Not only did I play the cymbals, but I played the biggest cymbals, 20 inches. Imagine giving someone who used to play clarinet, not even 5 pounds, giving them 20 inches of metal. And he gave me a second chance, not because he had to, but because he thought I can do way better. And I did. I had an A in his class. And just being in there, it's so wonderful. We don't get support unless we're at football games. And that's because everybody just likes the music because it's catchy. But we sit there and play it at the football games. But you do not see any football players, any golf players, any tennis players at any of our competitions. Anything that we do for the school, and the school doesn't give us anything back. And it's really sad to see that, because like Kaylee was saying, you guys are always saying, oh, we have a great performing arts. Yeah, it's great up until you guys are missing the whole sorry, I also had nothing prepared, but this whole thing that you guys have, you guys are fully going to lose it. And that's either losing students or just motivation. Also, I would like to share something that Kaylee has showed me because she forgot to put it, but we made a petition not too long ago. It has more than 1,000 signatures, 564. And that's not even counting the people that don't know about it. Not everybody knows about it. But imagine just randomly putting out there, hey, we have a petition to keep Rexel in, and over 500 people go out of their way, not because they feel like they have to. We didn't go up to them and tell them that they had to sign. They went online and did it because they know Rexel has one of the biggest impacts at our school. He's never asked questions. He's always done what everybody has asked of him. And you guys sat there. Thank you for your time.
On behalf of the entire board, thank you very much for having the courage to come in here and give your thoughts. Thank you very much. Chin Ho.
Hi, good evening. I'm here to protest the reassignment of Mr. Troy Rexel from Mountain House High School band director. My daughter has participated in band and percussion for the last 2 years. My observation of Mr. Rexel's performance has been truly impressive. I don't know why and may never find out why he is being forced out of his position. As a concerned parent, I like how Mr. Rexel has run, teach, and mentor the high school band program, and most importantly, the students. He has been a positive role model for our children. I know what to expect from Mr. Rexel, and I'm truly concerned who will replace him. How do you replace someone who has built an entire music program from the ground up? How do you replace someone who has the musical talent to lead a music program that wins competitions? How do you reward dedication, commitment, and passion to a teacher who has wholeheartedly put his blood, sweat, and tears to a fantastic music program? You let him keep his current job and grow the program he loves. Thank you.
On behalf of the entire board, thank you very much for your comments. Krishna Tagdawala, did I get that right?
Hello. I would like to thank you for your time. My name is Krishna, as you may have seen in the sheet. I'm currently a student in Mr. Excel's guitar class, and I have been so for about 1.5 years now. I'm currently in Mountain House High School as a junior, and I'm a very academically achieving student. I'm very passionate about math and a lot of other subjects, and I do plan on majoring in data science. I'm really interested, and I'm academically driven. I entered the Visual and Performing Arts program in Mr. Excel's guitar class when I entered last year during quarantine, virtual year. We joined meetings online. We didn't have any classes in person. I do apologize for my shaky voice. I'm very nervous being up here. When I heard that Mr. Excel was going to be transferred to an elementary school, I, as well as many other music students, were devastated to hear this news, because I didn't pick up an instrument ever before until I entered my sophomore year of high school. In my sophomore year, and I would just like to mention, I'm being academically driven and being in many extracurriculars and a high-achieving student. I do face a lot of stress, as do many other high schoolers in their daily lives, staying up late, pulling off all-nighters, that passion of being a student, as are many others like me. Being in guitar class is what gives me the relaxation and peace of mind that nothing else could give me in a single day, because I do not have a lot of time on my hands being a high school student. And being in guitar is what really drove me to continue, and that's what gave me the motivation to continue in high school with all of my other classes and extracurriculars. Mr. Excel has been able to provide me with the knowledge and education that any passionate and excelling music teacher could ever provide. He really gave me the education that I don't think anybody else could have. No one else. It was really Mr. Excel who gave me that knowledge. Sorry. Mr. Excel has also previously, when he did mention the news, he did express his desire to stay with us at the high school. I also did, as Kaylee and many other music students may have, I did have a bit of an emotional outburst. I did cry, and I went out of this class, with tears rolling down my cheeks. I was really devastated. And as Serenity mentioned before, we did create a petition, and over 500 people have signed it to show their support for Mr. Excel. And above all, I think Mr. Excel is, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Ms. On behalf of the board, I want to thank you again, Ms. Tagdawala, for having the courage to come up and speak. You did a great job. Bari Sharma?
Hello, members of the board. Thank you for your time. My name is Pari Sharma, and I am a part of the Mountain House Music Department. I met Mr. Excel in 6th grade when I went to band camp, and at that time I had been playing flute for less than a year. I was very nervous, but as soon as I entered the room, I saw that Mr. Excel had created this environment of acceptance and this encouragement of the love of music. And that's when I fell in love with music, and I knew that this is what I want to do.
In middle school, we also had the LUSD Honor Band program, and that was the highlight of my year by far, because I was able to challenge myself and learn from Mr. Rexell's expertise. His knowledge of music is unparalleled. Right now, band is my favorite class, without hesitation. Mr. Rexell is always there to help us, not only with music, but with other things going on in our lives. He puts so much time and effort into this program. If you think about it, other middle schools in California, in our county, have 3 levels of band programs that build them up to high school. And the students that are entering high school are so talented. At Mountain House, we don't have this. Yet Mr. Rexell has built up all these students to where they are right now. And he's made us so competitive that we go out there and we win the trophies that are sitting in the display cases of Mountain House and that the district prides itself for. I'm currently a junior, so I've interacted with most of the high school teachers, and I can tell you that Mr. Rexell is one of the best. If you go out and you ask any one of his students, anyone in the music department, they will agree. You may know that Mountain House is a Ohana. We're a family. Well, the music department is also a Ohana. We're tied together by our passion, our talent, and our experiences. Please do not transfer Mr. Rexell over to an elementary school, because that will tear apart our Ohana, and it will destroy us. It is impossible to replace a teacher like him. And if you do not have the power to change this decision, then please guide us to someone who does, because we won't give up, because we value Mr. Rexell and we value our music program, because he is our music program. Thank you.
Ms. Sharma, on behalf of the entire board, I want to thank you for having the courage to come up and share your thoughts. You did a great job. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if that's Lara or it's Sarah. Sarah Jane Ho.
Hi. First of all, thank you for your time. I know I just filled out the slip a minute ago. So I'm currently a sophomore at Mountain House High School, and even within the last 2 years of being under Mr. Rexell in the music department, I've seen all the just effort that he puts in each of the music programs, not just the competitive ones like winter percussion and marching band, but also just the everyday classes like symphonic band. I'm aware of what he does in orchestra because I have several friends within that class, and same goes for choir. Sorry, I don't have anything prepared either. Within symphonic band, he just puts so much effort, a lot more than I've seen some of my past band teachers, not to hold anything against them. He just has put so much effort into each of the respective programs, and as well as the connections he has for these programs. For example, this season of winter percussion, the staff members were absolutely great for the program, one of them being a former professional drumline member who could bring his experience to the students of the high school. And just as the other speakers mentioned, just how emotionally it would impact all the students, because it really is just like a second family. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Ho, on behalf of the entire school board, thank you very much for having the courage to come and share your thoughts. You did a great job. Again, the district is precluded from discussing personnel matters, but thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Item 7, consent items for consideration. Item A, Governing Board Meeting Minutes, regular meeting of March 16th, 2022. Item B, contracts under $50,000. Item C, ratification of budget revisions and warrant list for March 2022. Item D, ratification of 2021-2022 new hires. Item E, ratification of resignations. Item F, ratification of retirement. Item G, approval of early high school graduation or reduction of graduation requirements petitions for 7 students. Item H, updated 2021-2022 fundraisers. Item I, ratification of school-sponsored overnight trips. Item J, declaration of surplus materials e-waste. And item K, acceptance of donations, $400.45 donated by Cordis School 5th grade students. And I'm not going to list them, by the 5th grade students. Would any board member like to pull a specific consent item out for separate discussion and deliberations, or are there any questions or comments about the consent items?
Move to approve consent items as presented.
Second.
On a motion by Trustee Pombo and a second by Trustee Olson, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. And if students, I'm sorry, I didn't say this before I moved on. I apologize. If students want to stay, they're more than welcome to, or anybody wants to stay. If you would like to leave, that's okay too. Okay. Item 8. Oh, yes. Trustee Olson, as the board clerk, would you do the honors?
Yes, on behalf of the Lammersville Unified School District, we would like to welcome the following new hires. Maria Andrade, Administrative Assistant. Sharmila Santosh, Special Education Instructional Aide. Carmela Lianco, Personnel Technician. And Manikeshwari Patil, Instructional Aide / Noon Duty Supervisor. Welcome to LUSD.
Item 8, District Administrative Reports. Item A, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Nicholas?
Yes, thank you. I have a couple of pieces of information to share. First of all, I have here the county approval of our interim report, which is the formal acknowledgement by our oversight, the San Joaquin County Office of Education, on our budget, which means we can pay our bills this year and the 2 out years. And congratulations to Gloria Grijalva and her team for their good work in keeping our books together. Second of all, I was asked to give just a short, brief overview on our Drive to 9,000 initiative, which is a leadership training for mid-level leaders in our district. So I'm going to give a very brief overview. The Drive to 9,000, this is kind of the second incarnation of this training mindset. When I arrived in the district, it had about 2,650 students. We will enter next year with 7,300 plus, we believe. So we're talking about, more than tripled in size. We did this, the first round of this, when we were getting prepared to get to 4,000. It seems a long time ago. But now that we crossed the 7,000 threshold, having been in bigger districts, including one of 40,000 students and one of about 9,000 students, what happens is as a district grows, just the weight of the actual humanity trying to get everything done and keep everything moving, it gets faster, it gets more intense, more people, more information shared, more opportunity for the telephone game. So we started with a discussion in cabinet with the support department leads, the directors, assistant soups and associate soups and I about let's start thinking about what we need to do and how we need to reflect on the effectiveness of our programs as we drive to 9,000. So we started with this simple exercise about each individual department lead analyzing their own level of expertise, not in Lammersville today, but Lammersville and what it's going to be like and feel like and what they need to develop to reach their potential in a district of 9,000 students. And you're talking about 10, 11, 12 schools. Then we asked them to analyze where are each of the people on the teams that you manage in their individual journey to reach their own potential, and then how is your team doing reaching its potential as a cohort, a group of itself, and where are they at? And then ultimately the third part, using the triangle as the model, is where are your systems? Not right now, but are these systems going to be able to handle the stress, the speed, the size, scope, and scale of the district expectations when we're at 9,000? And so we started the exercise. And out of that, it became very clear that we were missing an area of focus for training of leaders, people who lead teams and people who lead departments, that was, in fact, in all the districts I've ever been in, had never been part of a cohesive, systematic training about how do you build team. So what we have to do is two things. Is we've got to be this very sophisticated $125 million overall budget with a $75 million operating budget corporation, and at the same time maintain the small town relationship-based culture that's been in existence since it's been a small place. It's an almost impossible task. So what came out of that triangle activity was we have a number of leaders, people who have grown into their positions, people whose departments have grown, and then we've added new people who really weren't part of the cultural norm development that the people in cabinet have been a part of. So we reached out to really a highly regarded professional leadership trainer, Mary Hopewell, and we began to build on this Drive to 9,000 initiative. And so she started off the training, which was made up of 3 teams, and they did a DISC leadership survey in which they all kind of analyzed how they approach problem solving. And then they shared amongst themselves, and then they went out and shared amongst their teams that they lead to try to get an idea of, well, everybody approaches different problems different ways, and sometimes poor communication or good communication happens based on how people perceive how to solve a given task. We then had a board workshop where we were working as the 6 of us on the board handbook, but we took that same DISC survey exercise, and since it worked effectively with this initiative, we went through it ourselves, just to lead conversations about how leaders look at problems and solve problems and how different perspectives lead to different ways of having a conversation. And so ultimately we created 3 teams that are going to go through over a period of 2.5 years, 3 phases of training, representative leaders from the Student Services Department, the SPED Department, HR, IT, Maintenance and Operation, Food Service. I have IT on there a second time because we like them so much. The district office and the high school site. And they were broken into 3 cohorts of 4 to 5 people. And they have gone through currently 2 phases of training. And each phase comes with a book, and they're written by Patrick Lencioni. They're all about corporate and big system training around teams and leadership styles and how to be an effective leader. So the first one was called The Motive. The second one was The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And the third one, which has just recently been passed out to the folks going through the training, The Ideal Team Player. So in phase 1, the topics that were covered, which were basically around the foundational concepts of leadership, is developing your leadership team. Like how do you build your team and how do you have conversations about things? Managing subordinates is different than being a good guy or a good boss or a bad boss. It's how do you manage your team? Lots of stuff has to be done. It has to be accurate, and you want to have people feel like they're part of something. Having difficult and uncomfortable conversations. How do you talk about something when it doesn't go right or if somebody's not meeting the grade? Running great meetings. Lots of meetings get perfunctory. There's an agenda. You go down the list, and that's what it is. But there's effective strategies to make the list effective in communicating and building team spirit and getting things done effectively and efficiently. And then finally, how do you consistently communicate and repeatedly say the same things in a way that builds on what the team is trying to accomplish? So that was phase 1, and inspired by the book, The Motive. Phase 2, which just finished not too long ago, is the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Where are the traps? Like when a team isn't effective, there are traps. There are people behave and teams behave in certain ways that you can look for the traps and you can catch them early before you get the tensions and stuff that has to take more time to solve. And so how do you address an absence of trust? How do you deal with fear of conflict? How do you deal with a lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and inattention to results? Those are all traps that every organization, every team has individual humans living in them trying to be what they want to be in an environment of success. And so these are the traps, and they went over what they are, the dynamics, and how to address them. So that was the end of phase 2. Moving into either this summer or early fall, we'll do phase 3, which will lead to 4 and 5. And so phase 3 will be around building and developing your team. So now we've done big picture. Oops, well, that was impressive. There you go. So while I break equipment, here, how not to break your equipment and embarrass yourself in a large group of people, but also building and developing your team, right? So with big picture, we've got what it is, what breaks down teams and trust and effectiveness, and then how do you build your team? And then ultimately building your systems, all going back to what we started out with. And then the last is, how do you build something that's sustainable over time? Not because the people are there, but because the systems and the culture you built when new people come in, it just keeps its legacy going. So full circle back to the original idea with the triangle activity is, every leader in this district has an opportunity to reach their potential as an individual leader. Every individual member of a department and a team has the opportunity to develop to their potential. And that's 2 separate acts, but they're in concert with each other. And every system in every department that serves the needs of the district has to be effective, efficient, and able to reach the needs of everybody. And we're talking about thousands of people now, where we're at from now until 9,000. So we are in a multi-year initiative to make sure our systems, our culture, and our teams and our leaders have what they need to be successful individually, as a group, and as a district leadership group. And Mr. President, that's my presentation.
Thank you very much. Any questions, comments from the board?
I don't have a question. I would just like to thank the superintendent for, I feel like, giving some clarity to, because we've heard about the drive to 9,000 a lot, but I didn't feel like we really understood exactly what it was, and I appreciate the explanation. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Thank you very much, Dr. Nicholas. Item B, district enrollment report. Staff report?
I'm happy to say that we're at 7,175 students as of Friday, and it's 2 more as of this morning. So it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing.
Item C, quarterly report on Williams uniform complaints, January 2022 through April 15, 2022. Staff report?
There were none.
And item D, district maintenance and operations report. Staff report? Mr. LeGrand.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Our staffing challenges continue. Every day we come to work, we're 4 people in the hole, and we have a person on medical leave, that's 5. We have someone on workers' comp, so that's a half-ish. Just to give an example, last Monday, we had a day person calling sick, midday person calling sick, and a night person calling sick, so we're about 8 people short on Monday, just 2 days ago. We're trying to get that resolved with Sarah's help. Spring break went well for us. We got a lot of work done. Let's see. Avina and I were working on the pre-qualification for the subcontractors for Costa. It was extended to March 30th. We met on the 6th, and we finished our portion of the project, so that we're all done with that. We had a lead custodian meeting during the Monday of spring break. Solar. We're having our weekly meetings. We did a punch list walk at 4 sites on the 24th. We did Altamont, Bethany, Hanson, and Wickland. At Altamont and Bethany, the fence has been removed, the parking lot's been cleaned up. Both sides will need some landscaping here in the future. Some of the plants get torn out. We'll have to go back and patch and fill those back in. Hanson, the power shut off, and we made a connection to the main panel was on the 19th. That was completed. The temp fencing removal in the parking lot, they had it on the schedule for this week, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but I'll find out tomorrow in our meeting. Wickland, the power shut off was Wednesday. It was supposed to be the Wednesday of spring break. The breaker that they were going to install was bad out of the box, so that we couldn't do it that day, which means we had to reschedule with MID, and that is going to happen this Saturday. It took a couple weeks to reschedule with MID, so that's where we're at with that. Hopefully that'll get done. And then, Questa, they're doing the underground boring now. They're doing all the electrical work underneath the arrays. Not a lot going on at Lammersville. You may have heard last Wednesday at the high school, they hit the main power line to the admin building right in front of the office there. So the school is out of power for the rest of the day. They had a temporary fix the next morning on the Thursday, and then on Saturday they came in and did a permanent fix. Had to pull all new wire from basically almost from the street all the way to the breaker panel. They were out there for about 10 hours on last Saturday doing that. The other project we have going on right now is a Wickland parking lot expansion. That's going really well. Got rolling over spring break. The ground's compact, the curbs are in. We did have a lot of irrigation issues to deal with. There were valves in there. There was a main line we had to deal with. We had to do workarounds on that kind of stuff. But the good news is that they're good to go and they're going to pave next Wednesday. So that project went pretty smooth. I have two pieces of good news to report for a change, right? The CalShape money that the district applied for a few months ago came through for the district. So by my math, it's roughly almost $800,000, $795,000 and some change. And the second piece of good news is that we applied, 6 months or more back for money for electric vehicles. Thorne and I got notification today that money is coming through. So that's another $100,000, 5 vehicles, $20,000 a piece. So all told, that's almost $900,000 new money for the department. Thor said if I could borrow this money and I could have all of May off. So I will see you all in the summer. Have a good graduation, everything. I'm going to hold them to it. Upcoming items, we have our quarterly Zoom meeting with the landscape company next Friday, the 29th. I'll be at the safety committee meeting on the 4th. I'll be at the facilities committee meeting on the 12th. And in regards to our staffing, we had interviews on Friday, the 18th for the lead custodian position in Altamont, and one of our night people was promoted, which creates another opening for us. So we had on Wednesday the 13th, we had interviews for the 4 openings we have. And kudos to Sarah and her team. We actually had 10 people to interview, which we haven't had 10 people to interview, I don't think, since I've been here. So that was great. We had a lot of good candidates. So we have 4 people moving through the process to fill those positions. Hopefully they'll all go smoothly. We can get them on board before the school year is out. And that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
I just have a question. The solar at the high school, will the fences be removed well before graduation date?
Yes.
Okay.
That Thor has been adamant that the fence will be gone. Every meeting he brings it up, I believe that the fence will be gone way before graduation. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. If Thor and I have to go move the fence, we will go out and move the fence for graduation. But yeah, I believe it's scheduled for mid-May, around mid-May, as last time I saw.
And congratulations on getting the money, by the way.
Yeah. That is number one on our hit list there. Yes, sir.
And congratulations on your month off.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Item 9, action items. A, consider approval of 21-22 inter-district transfer requests. I'm assuming there's no staff report.
Move to approve 2021-2022 inter-district transfer request.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item B, consider approval of the 2022-2023 inter-district transfer requests.
Move to approve 2022-2023 inter-district transfer request.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Olson, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item C, consider approval of the food services agreement for the National School Lunch Program between Mountain House Elementary School District and Lammersville Unified School District for the 2022-2023 school year. Staff report?
Yes, we do this every year. It's a renewal. It allows us to help them out with their food service needs. It's a very small district. It's a one schoolhouse kind of operation.
Move to approve the food services agreement for the National School Lunch Program between Mountain House Elementary School District and Lammersville Unified School District for the 22-23 school year.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Boulay and a second by trustee Daniel, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item D, consider approval of the public disclosure form AB 1200 of collective bargaining agreement for unrepresented certified and classified confidential management groups and California School Association Chapter 873. Staff report?
Yes, part of the formal process of going, explaining publicly the salary increases that were negotiated and ultimately delivered to all employees. This is part of the explanation, and it's also vetted through the County Office of Ed as a auditory exercise.
Move to approve public disclosure form AB 1200 of collective bargaining agreement for unrepresented, certificated and classified confidential management groups and California School Association Chapter 873.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Olson and a second by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item E, consider approval of new and updated unrepresented classified confidential job descriptions and salary effective May 1, 2022. Administrative Assistant 1, Administrative Assistant 2, and Network Coordinator 1. Staff report?
Yes, so as I was talking about growing to 9,000, this is an example. Every year we go through and make sure that some positions, size, scope, and scale haven't become overly burdensome. So the splitting of the admin assist position is an example of that into 2 different positions where the one has the more responsibility. The network coordinator is a new position that we need to oversee all of the things, doohickeys, I don't know all those terms I can't ever say right, and make sure they work. So we strongly recommend approval. I do want to say that there's a typo in that it's April 1 is, so it's right on the one form. The May 1st should be amended to April 1. If there's a motion, we need to amend that.
Move to approve the new and updated unrepresentative classified confidential job descriptions and salary effective April 1st, 2022. Administrative Assistant 1, Administrative Assistant 2, and Network Coordinator 1.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Boulay and a second by trustee Daniel, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item F, consider approval to renew the preschool / before and after school services agreement at Altamont and Cuesta Elementary Schools with Montessori School of Tracy, Inc. for 2022-2023. Staff report?
Yes, the next 3 items all have the same staff report. These are longstanding programs. We renew them annually or when their time is up. We strongly recommend continuing the services we provide through the Montessori School of Tracy at Altamont and Cuesta.
Go ahead, trustee Daniel.
Move to approve to renew the preschool / before and after school services agreement at Altamont and Cuesta Elementary Schools with Montessori School of Tracy, Inc. for 2022-2023.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Daniel and a second by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item G, consider approval to renew before / after school services agreement at Hanson Elementary School with Brilliant Minds Academy for 2022-2023 with the same staff report.
Move to approval to renew the before / after school services agreement at Hanson Elementary School with Brilliant Minds Academy for the 2022-2023.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Olson and a second by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item H, consider approval to renew the agreement at Wickland Elementary School with Catalyst Family Incorporated for childcare services for the 2022-2023 school year with the same staff report.
Move to approve to renew the agreement at Wickland Elementary School with Catalyst Family Incorporated for child care services for the 2022-2023 school year.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Boulay and a second by Trustee Daniel, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item I, consider approval of the new substitute teacher salary schedule effective July 1, 2022. Staff report?
Yes, there is an ongoing massive competition for substitute teacher services. During the pandemic, we significantly increased substitute pay to try to be competitive with other districts. This is the post pandemic salary schedule. It's significantly increased, not quite to the level it was, but in order for us to do the professional development that we like to do and to have the coverage that we need to do, we need to have competitive salaries. And staff did a great job on this.
Move to approve the new substitute teacher salary schedule effective July 1st, 2022.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Daniel and a second by Trustee Olson, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item J, consider approval of the contract with Demco for TK desks and chairs, $53,062.81. Staff report?
Yes, so the state is expanding TK access. As it expands, we have to find space and the furniture that goes with it. This is in order to support what we need for next year.
Move to approve the contract with Demco for TK desks and chairs in the amount of $53,062.81.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Olson and a second by Trustee Pombo, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item K, consider approval of agreement between Lammersville Teachers Association and Lammersville Unified School District for 2021-2022. Staff report?
Yes, I want to, we had a very successful negotiation year. I want to thank Nick Lanier and the LTA team. I want to thank our team, led by Thor Harrison, Gloria Grijalva, and our new HR director, Sarah Barrios. If every year could go like this, it would be a wonderful thing for everybody. And the professionalism of our Teachers Association is a model for, I think, all to follow. So with that said, this is our formal recognition of the agreement that was the outcome of those negotiations.
Move to approve of agreement between Lammersville Teachers Association and Lammersville Unified School District for 2021-2022.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Pombo and a second by Trustee Olson, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item L, consider approval of contract with Core Collaborative for Professional Development, $267,400. Staff report?
Just briefly, we have been talking throughout the course of this school year about what we needed to do to get everything in place so we can hit the ground running next year. And we have focused in on our school sites individually and as a collective group of schools on re-engaging the community and reinvigorating the professional learning communities and reestablishing good first-time instruction and in-person learning. So to bring it all together and to take it to the next level, and I keep talking about taking it to the next level, we have gone through a process to identify an initiative to take our big picture professional learning communities effort, which has been done over a series of years, and take it to a more modernized and specific data-driven school by school, grade level by grade level, teacher by teacher process that is of the best practices. The PLC model is, again, big picture based on 4 questions, and those 4 questions are large. So then once you've established the norms and the culture at a school site to talk about those 4 big picture questions, now you got to get into the weeds, you got to get into the nitty gritty, and we've built all the data systems for that. So this is our recommendation to adopt this initiative as a district-wide initiative, which will be done over a couple, 3 years, to take our professional learning communities to the next level and meet that expectation that I've been talking about, which is we want to hit the ground running next year.
Can I comment that I'm glad we're doing this because I think it's important that we take care of our teachers, that we continue to mold them, because if we can do that, hopefully, first of all, they'll be happier in their professions, they'll stay with us, and certainly they'll be better teachers for our students. So I move to approve the contract with Core Collaborative for Professional Development in the amount of $267,400.
Second, and I had wanted to kind of piggyback on what Trustee Boulay said, because in my spare time that I don't really have a lot of, but I wanted to bring good karma to our district, so I've been subbing in Tracy. And I just wanted to give a shout out to our coordinators and assistant or associate Sherburne? Assistant. I always get that confused, I'm sorry.
Sherburnator goes fine.
Assistant Superintendent Sherburne. I incorporate the LUSD way when I sub. The small little bit of training that you gave us, I remembered that, and it's actually helped me, and I wish I had more. So I really appreciate that, and I see the value in this on an actual real lived level. So thank you.
Based on a motion by Trustee Boulay and a second by Trustee Olson, any additional comments or discussion? Student Trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item M, consider approval of 3-year contract renewal with Illuminate Education, including EduClimber and Inspect Premium Software for the 2022 through 2025 school years, total $225,522.46. Staff report?
Yeah, these are, the next 2 items are standing programs. They need to be renewed. Sometimes we do 1-year deals, sometimes we do 3-year deals, whatever one comes in least expensive. If it's an effective program, we recommend this important assessment platform that supports our programs.
Move to approve the 3-year contract renewal with Illuminate Education, including EduClimber and Inspect Premium Software for the 2022 through 2025 school years, total $225,522.46.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Boulay and a second by Trustee Olson, additional comments or discussion? Student Trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item N, consider approval of a 3-year contract with Discovery Education for Discovery Education Experience, DEX, and Mystery Science Bundle, grades K through 8, 2022 through 2025 school years, total $91,350 with the same staff report.
Move to approve a 3-year contract with Discovery Education for Discovery Education Experience, DEX, and Mystery Science Bundle, grades K through 8, 2022 through 2025 school years, total $91,350.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Olson, a second by Trustee Boulay, any additional comments or discussion? Student Trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item O, consider approval of contract with AMS.net Technology Solutions Provider for a new phone system in Lammersville Unified School District, total $212,995.68. Staff report?
Yes, amazingly enough, the phone systems need to be upgraded, and this replaces 67 telephones, which are high-tech and not just rotary dials. It's a set of 1-year licenses and a total system upgrade, which keeps us, those 67 telephones can't be served anymore. So we strongly recommend keeping our phones working.
Move to approve the contract with AMS.net Technology Solutions Provider for a new phone system in the Lamersville Unified School District, total $212,995.68.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Boulay and a second by Trustee Olson, any additional comments or discussion? Student Trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item P, consider approval of a 1-year contract renewal with Nucella for supplemental ELA levelized reading articles, grades K through 12, 2022-2023 school year, total $54,498. Staff report?
We recommend approval of this popular program. Levelized reading is important because kids of all reading abilities can access information with this program. And I want to thank Assistant Superintendent Sherburne, who I purposely mispronounced the name of Newzella as Newzlia, just to irritate her. So she's going to be very happy to have this one off the mark now.
Move to approve one-year contract renewal with Newzella for supplemental ELA levelized reading articles, grades K through 12, 2022 through 2023 school year, total $54,498.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Olson and a second by Trustee Boulay, additional comments or discussion? Student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item 10, information and discussion items. Item A, we moved up. Item B, board visit calendar. Dr. Nicholas?
Yes, at the board workshop I referenced earlier, one of the things I was tasked to do was to come up with a board visit calendar which worked for everybody's desires to visit school sites and the school sites and all the activities. The first incarnation of this, to say it crashed and burned is an understatement. I tried to take all the visits and that were coordinated and put it onto a calendar, and it became so cumbersome and confusing, we set it down. And so we've come back with something simpler and is going to be a fusion of 2 events, one that's being currently worked on by the school sites and one that Noel's going to put up here in a second. So on this board visit calendar, we're going to have all of the fun, cool kid things in one spot. So if you want to go to a reading award assembly and do the wave in the back of the room thing, that's going to be on there. And then we've asked all of our school site principal leaders to identify dead dates that, testing or IEP day or things like that. And then once we get that together, then we can present it to you guys, and then you can say, okay, so how do we want to go out and visit the school sites on formal visits, which are you contact me, I contact the principal. We want to limit the amount of visits, but not limit the amount of enthusiasm for those visits. And then partnering up and all those things we talked about. And then ultimately you get to see and be a part and participate. The fun stuff is informal, where you show up, you say hi, and there's no expectations of the site leader to stop what they're doing and give you an appropriate board visit, and where the formal visits, that is the expectation.
Dr. Nichols, can I just clarify, since there's 3 of us that are fairly new board members and there's 2 pros, but ultimately you're the superintendent. When we're talking about an informal visit, do you expect that we run those through you first? Do you need to be aware of those, or can we go direct, just show up, or should we at least notify the site principal?
So you'll notice we have a protocol here. When our site leaders get up and talk at the podium, we always have them acknowledge the board president and the board. It's a formal acknowledgement of the work that you do in a formal setting at a formal meeting. The same thing goes for a formal board visit. When a board member shows up for a formal board visit, the principal, or if they're super not, like something really important came up, somebody that represents the administrative staff should be there to greet you and take you around. So that's the formal visit. The informal is you show up, you check in like everybody else, and you go. So I always when I go to those things, I go to stand in the back of the room, I wave, talk to the principal, and then I go stand and let them do their thing. If they say my name, I wave, and that's the informal. So I could think of there's so many activities going on all the time, but I think those awards assemblies and such. So that would be one where you would just go onto the campus. But the issue is I'm a principal, and I know I have a board member here visiting. And the expectation is that formality of, we have a board member visit, we are going to show our stuff, and we need to alleviate that part where it's okay for you guys just to go to an activity or an event and participate as a parent, a community member, or informal board visit, as opposed to, I'm going to walk classrooms, I want to sit down and talk, this and that. I know that was long-winded, but it's important to separate the two. So as you guys understand it, when we explain it to the principals, that some of them are still not going to let go of that idea, so we've got to work on them a little bit. So,
okay,
did that help?
Yeah.
So from my perspective, like if a board member goes to like walk through the ancient world, which is a student thing, and we're just the audience, right? That's an informal thing. We can show up. I mean, you can email the principal and say, hey, by the way, I'm going to show up for this, but I have no expectation, of anything out of you. And then in terms of formal board visits, when we get the calendar, what I'd say is if you want to go to more, right, if you're on the more frequent end, try to team up with another board member and schedule with them, right, so that one principal can knock down 2 school board member visits with one time, because there's 5 of us, there's 8 schools, there'll be 9 before we know it, and that can get, and every time we visit a school site, we're taking the principal and at least some teacher, some portion of teachers' time away from doing what they're really supposed to be doing, which, we do have a responsibility for understanding and seeing what's going on actually in the classroom and all that. So it's value add and all that. But if you want to go to a lot, try to team up. And then there's people like me that I work a long ways away. My availability is much less. And so, if I have a meeting cancel and I was going to be in Tracy anyway, then I might try to schedule something, see if there's something available at that time.
I have a comment and a question. The comment is, thank you, Superintendent and staff, for working on this as we requested. I think it will prove very helpful in the long run, and also alleviate some of the stress to our site administrative teams. The question is, will this be a living document? In other words, if a DARE graduation the time is moved, will that be reflected on this calendar? Because
The art designer, I just gave the nod that yes, it's living. However, on certain things where the communication doesn't always come in timely, I can't guarantee it up to the minute.
Curb your expectations.
I do not expect you or anyone else to be all-knowing and all-seeing, but typically, when I'm made aware of an event at the schools that I would like to attend, I put it in my calendar. And if I miss something along the line, it would be nice to have a place to check and make sure, is that still that date? Did I input it into my calendar correctly, and so forth?
This is the general idea.
And so to follow up with the living document, do we know where the document will live so that we can have access to it?
I'm going to look
Yet,
to the
or
art
we're
director.
working on that.
PD.
Fair enough. Oh, I like that. Thank you.
So go ahead.
I'm just looking forward to the document and the Google Doc, please, and to echo to Trustee Pombo's comment. The draft looks great. Thank you, Noel, and to the staff and team.
And I'm going to give myself credit for getting out of the way of my terrible idea that crashed and burned.
It sounded good when we talked about it in the workshop. It sounded great. I do have one last question, Dr. Nicholas. And, we, at the very least, we're going to have 2 new principals.
Correct.
Right. And I guess I'm saying there's informal, there's formal, and then I'd like a middle one where I'd just like to come for 15 minutes, just meet the principal, even before I have time to do a full-on, formal visit, and that'll take just a few minutes.
Yeah, I think we can work all that out with a welcome to the district introduction thing that we'll I mean, this is meant to be a tool to help it work for everybody. And so we have new people and we want to do a meet and greet kind of thing. I think we can always work these things out.
Basically, I'm just going to say, are they available on such and such a day? And you'll tell me yes or no. Cool. Any other questions, comments by the board? Item C, groundbreaking ceremony, Evelyn Costa Elementary School. Staff report?
So I'm proud to say that after a lot of hard work and a lot of complications, as always there are with school sites, DSA approval for the Costa school site was received last week. The Department of School Architecture, so they're the formal body that looks at the plans and says you can go ahead and build. That's exciting. The plan is to break ground, meaning the real construction starts on 5/20 or May 20th. Somewhere between now and May 20th, we're going to have a groundbreaking ceremony. There's one complication. There is about $1.2 million of dirt removal that has to happen, and I have not been given specifically when that date is, and we would like it to look better after having been scraped than what it is currently, which is a bunch of weeds. So I'm telling you that we got DSA approval. 5/20 was when they'll start work in earnest. We want to have a nice ceremony, the groundbreaking ceremony, but until I get the date on the specific, the dirt scrapage, I won't be able to schedule the event, but we will work with everyone's calendars to make sure everybody can participate. But we're very, very close.
Thank you. It's very, very
you.
exciting. Thank you.
Questions, comments? Item 11, calendar. A, Tuesday, April 26, 2022 is the TED Ed event at 6 p.m. at Mountain House High School Theater. Looking forward to that one. Item B, Wednesday, April 27th, TK Kindergarten Readiness Parent Workshops by appointment only from noon to 6 p.m. at the Professional Development Center. Item C, Wednesday, May 4th, 2022, District Advisory Committee meeting at 6 p.m. here in the District Office Boardroom. Item D, Wednesday, May 4th, 2022, next regular governing board meeting at 7 p.m. here in the District Office Boardroom. Item E, Thursday, May 12th, 2022 is the Facilities Committee meeting at 6:30 here in the District Boardroom. Item F, Thursday, May 12th, 2022, DARE graduation at 6:30 p.m. at Hanson Elementary. In a moment, we will adjourn to closed session where we will be discussing A, Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release Complaint, Government Code Section 54957. B, Student Discipline and Other Confidential Matters, Ed Code Sections 35146, 48900, and 48912B. Item C, Conference with Real Property Negotiators, Government Code Section 54956.8. And item D, Conference with Legal Counsel, Anticipated Litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at this time.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Pombo and seconded by Trustee Olson, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. We are now adjourned to closed session. Thank you very much, everyone. Reporting action from closed session for the meeting of April 20th, 2022. Closed session, item B, Student Discipline and Other Confidential Matters, Education Code Sections 35146, 48900, and 48912B, Pupil Personnel, Education Code 48918. On item 1, student expulsion number 21-22-07, the board took action on a motion by Trustee Olson and seconded by Trustee Boulay to approve the staff recommendation for a suspended expulsion of student number 21-22-07 for violation of board policy and administrative regulation 5131.4 and education code 48900A1 for the remainder of the spring 2021-2022 trimester by the following vote: 5 ayes, no noes, no absence, and no abstentions. On closed item, session B, Student Discipline and Other Confidential Matters, Education Code Sections 35146, 48900, and 48912B, Pupil Personnel, Education Code 48918. Item 2, Student Expulsion Number 21-22-08. The board took action by a motion on a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Daniel to approve staff recommendation for a suspended expulsion of student number 21-22-08 for violation of board policy 5131.2, board policy 5131.8, education code section 48915B1, education code 48915B2, and education code 48900 subpoint R for the spring 2021-2022 semester by the following vote. Five ayes, no noes, no absence, and no abstentions.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Boulay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes. And no nays. We are now adjourned.